Shall we resume our seats as we double the applause for the country's leading University of Technology? My Lord, spiritual and temporal, leaders of our academic community, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of our Vice Chancellor, Professor Adeniyi Fellow Academy of Science, I respectfully welcome us to the 196th Inaugural Lecture Series of our institution. Today's lecture with the title, A Parasite-Free World, Achievable or Wishful Thinking, will be delivered by Titus Adeniyi Olusi, Professor of Applied Parasitology. A round of applause for the inaugural lecture. And in tandem with the established tradition of our university, today's occasion will be presided over by our Vice Chancellor, who will function as its chairman. I therefore respectfully introduce to us the very first female Vice Chancellor of this great citadel of academic excellence, Professor Adeniyi. Madam Vice Chancellor, we welcome you. With the Vice Chancellor are some of the leaders of our institution, including the principal officers and deans. Let me start by introducing the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Professor Titus. We welcome you, sir. I also welcome the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Development, Professor Sunday Samuel Oluyamo. You are welcome, sir. Let me also welcome our registrar, Chief Scribe of our institution and Secretary to Council, Mr. Charles Olusi Adeniyi. The Chancellor of the Exchequer, our boss, Mr. Peter Oladamo Oshaluba. You are welcome, sir. The librarian is being represented here today by Dr. Ibrahim and your Ola. You are welcome, sir. I also like to welcome the acting provost, College of Health Sciences, being represented by Professor Olusi. You are welcome, Prof. Our deans are also here. Let me welcome the Dean School of Agriculture and Agricultural Technology, Professor Olabode Thomas Adebayo. We welcome you, sir. The Dean School of Basic Medical Sciences, Professor Akim Olalekan Lawal. You are welcome, sir. We also welcome the Dean School of Infrastructure, Mineral and Manufacturing Engineering, Professor Christopher Oluwakomi Akimele. You are welcome, sir. The Dean School of Electrical Systems Engineering is Professor Adeniyi Oladipo. You are welcome, sir. The Dean School of Health and Medical Sciences, Professor Ayodeji Oduleye, is also here with us. We welcome you, sir. The Dean School of Environmental Technology is being represented by Professor Ezekiah Ayola. You are welcome, sir. The Dean School of Logistics and Innovation Technology is Professor Olayemi Olasedi Simon. You are welcome, sir. We also welcome the Dean School of Life Sciences, Professor Mufta Kolawole Olatunboye. You are welcome, sir. The Dean School of Physical Sciences, Professor Femi Barnabas Adebola. We welcome you, sir. We welcome the School of Postgraduate Studies, Professor Oluwagbelu Olusoji. You are welcome, sir. And the day that commands the largest contingent of forces on this campus, the Dean Student Affairs Division, Professor David Olajuwon. You are welcome, sir. At this moment, it is my singular honor and privilege to invite to the podium the chairman of this occasion and our Vice Chancellor, Professor Adeniyi Oladipo, to deliver address. Madam Vice Chancellor.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Development. I can see former Vice Chancellors here present, Professor Balungo and Professor Fasha. the registrar, the university librarian, the bursar, my lords, spiritual and temporal, top government functionaries here present, the inaugural lecturer of today, Titus, and Adeniyi, Olusi, deans, directors, and heads of department, especially the dean of the School of Life Sciences, distinguished members of Senate and congregation, eminent scholars and friends of the university, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome everyone to the 196th Inaugural Lecture of the Federal University of Technology, Abuja, the nation's leading University of Technology. I welcome very especially our spiritual and traditional leaders, top government functionaries, captains of industries, friends of the university, and the entire staff and students of this great university. I am very pleased to welcome the immediate and extended family members, friends and well-wishers of the inaugural lecturer. I felicitate Professor Titus and Adeniyi Olusi on this academic milestone. May I at this juncture request the inaugural lecturer to please rise while I present his citation. Professor Olusi, please. Titus Adeniyi Olusi was born 28 June 1957 in Ikabuma, Akoko, local government area, Edo State. After his elementary education, he attended Crown Memorial College, Lokoja, Kogi State, where he obtained his West African School Certificate in 1976. Thereafter, he proceeded to the University of Adeniyi in Borno State between 1978 and 1982, and later to the University of Ibadan in Oyo State, again between 1986 and 1987, and University of Jos, Plateau State between 1990 and 1998. Now, in all these institutions, he bagged his BSc, MSc, and PhD degrees respectively. Professor Olusi is a true Nigerian, having studied in all parts of the country. Titus Adeniyi Olusi joined the services of the Federal University of Technology, Abuja, professor in the Department of Biology, School of Sciences in June 2009. He has supervised more than 80 undergraduate projects, 30 master's dissertations, and 14 PhD theses. He has authored and co-authored over 70 journal articles in reputable peer-reviewed journals, and has presented papers at several conferences both within and outside Nigeria. Professor Olusi belongs to several professional bodies, such as the Nigerian Society for Parasitology and the Parasitology and Public Health Society of Nigeria. He served as the National Publicity Secretary of the Parasitology and Public Health Society of Nigeria between 2007 and 2009. Professor Olusi has had years of experience both in lectureship and management positions in the university system, and has served the university in many capacities, such as serving as head Department of Biology, School of Sciences between August 2009 and July 2012. He was board member, West African Science Center in Climate Change and Adapted Land Use, WASCA, the graduate research program in West African Climate Science from 2010 to 2022. He was chairman, Committee on Allocation of Laboratory Spaces and Equipment Purchase, also here in Futa. Outside the university, he is the president, Ikakumo Club, Ikakumo, Edo State from 2015 to date. He was chairman, Ikakumo Development Union, Ikakumo, Edo State. And member, 2026 Synod, St. Peter's Anglican Church, Ikakumo, Edo State. He is happily married, and the union is blessed with promising children. Parasites are undisputedly and unarguably natural enemies of animals, man inclusive, and understandably, their total elimination is desirable and justified. Today's lecture is expected to discuss the role parasites play in the ecosystem and further enlighten us on the importance of understanding their ecology and significance before attempting their eradication and the consequences thereafter. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have before us this day a distinguished scholar to present the 196th Inaugural Lecture of the University, titled A Parasite-Free World, Achievable or Wishful Thinking. Please join me in welcoming Professor Titus Adeniyi to this.
Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Development, the Registrar, other principal officers of the University, Provost, Deans and Directors, Heads of Department and Units, Professors and members of the Senate, my Lord Spiritual and Temporal, distinguished guests and friends of the University, ladies and gentlemen of the press, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, brave Futeria. It is with a humble heart, full of profound gratitude to God Almighty and to Jesus Christ, the author and finisher of my faith, that I stand here before you today, the 14th day of February 2026, to present the 196th Inaugural Lecture of the Federal University of Technology, Akure. This is the 9th Inaugural Lecture from the Department of Biology and the second from Applied Parasitology Program of the department. The fourth lecture of the department was delivered by Professor Olusi on the 15th of March 1994, and the latest by Professor O.E. Oladipo on the 24th February 2026. Today, I feel deeply honored by your esteemed presence at the long-awaited inaugural lecture titled A Parasite-Free World, Achievable or Wishful Thinking, which have to be scheduled twice due principally to health reasons. My entire journey through life thus far has been a clear testimony of the goodness and faithfulness of the Lord, who has always been my guide. My career journey in academics began sometime in 1978 when I was offered admission to read BSc Zoology at the University of Maryland. In a simultaneous course, after graduation, I determined in my mind to proceed to higher degrees whenever I had the opportunity. After the compulsory national youth service for 1983, I secured employment with Olusi teaching service and was posted to our high school as tutor 2. Shortly afterwards, I was promoted to the position of vice principal and posted to Achievable Comprehensive High School, also in the old Ondo State. The opportunity to join academics presented itself when in 1985 I secured a promptly took up an appointment as graduate assistant in the form to the University of the Osman campus, not allowing the allure of vice principal and the prospect of becoming a substantive principal to dissuade me. This was because I saw it as a golden opportunity of fulfilling my most cherished ambition then of acquiring higher degrees, particularly PhD, which came to pass in the course of my engagement in the university while enjoying my career progression. The essence of the inaugural lecture is for the lecturer, the presenter, to showcase what he or she professes in his or her field of specialization, and to share his or her research and teaching accomplishments with the university community and the public at large. Parasitism is an interaction between organisms and the product of natural selection, and should therefore be understood as selective response to pressure from the environment. Parasites by definition live in or on a host from whom imitate something, an attribute that has qualified parasites as the primary enemies of the animal body. However, not all parasites cause irreversible harm to their hosts, and only a small percentage affect humans. Scientists have warned of the direct consequences of disregarding the remaining vast majority, and studies have shown that parasitic diseases in association with nutritional deficiencies are the primary killers of humans. Recent summaries of worldwide prevalence of selected parasites with parasitic diseases indicate that there are more than enough existing infections for every living person to have one. Introduction. Parasitism is defined as the association between two organisms in which one, the parasite, lives temporarily or permanently in or on the other, the host, deriving benefits from it and in the process causing harm to it. Thus, the parasite gains while the host loses. Parasitism, commensalism, and mutualism are the three recognized but clearly distinguishable types of interspecific associations between organisms. Symbiosis, which is sometimes mistaken for any of the three, simply or literally means living together, although some authors restrict the term to relationship where both partners benefit. The original proposal of the term symbiosis, the German scholar Adeniyi in 1879, defined it as any two organisms living in close association, commonly one living in or on the on the body of the other, as symbiotic as contrasted with free living. The general tendency is to regard all organisms living in or on the other as parasites, because it is sometimes difficult to decide if an organism living in or on the other actually inflicts harm on the source or not. Though, if it cannot be demonstrated that, no harm is done, they must be regarded as commensals. Similar difficulties also arise when trying to decide whether an association is commensal or mutual. Therefore, for an organism to be regarded as a parasite, it must be convincingly be shown to demonstrate that the organism does not reside in or on the host, derives any form of benefit from the relationship while the host does not, and lastly, the host suffers harm as a result of the association. Parasites living on the surface of the host body are regarded like ectoparasites, while other dwelling inside are endoparasites. Those parasite relationships are like predator-prey relationships. That is, one population of organisms feeding on another. The difference, however, is that the parasite rarely kills their host quickly because the dead host is not useful as a continuous source of nourishment. Endoparasite residing in the alimentary canal gut, that is the gut, feed on post-digested nutrients and therefore cause the least harm to the host. Notwithstanding, cases of about 5,000 roundworms, as Callisto records, blocking the intestines and causing death in young children have been documented in over 1976. Also, the tiny larvae of Malaria worms, Wuchereria microphyta, that invades the lymphatics where they mature and aggregate into such numbers as to block the lymphatic vessels, resulting in enormous enlargement of extremities of an infected wound, particularly the legs and scrotum, known as elephantiasis, scrotum and limb elephantiasis. Origin and evolution of parasites. In the beginning, there were parasites. Parasitism has been found to be an essential part of life, to the extent that parasites are found in virtually all species of organisms that exist on the planet Earth. Little wonder that some ecologists have estimated that at least 1/3 of all species of organisms on Earth are parasites. Since the beginning of life, proto-organisms, the earliest form of life, adopted parasitism in order to multiply. According to Bremen, parasitism must have therefore occurred at the earliest stage of evolution. Associations recognized as parasite systems existed since the very first gene association, long before the appearance of the code and the gene translation. Parasitism has been identified as an important promoter of biodiversity, commencing frequency at the molecular level. To date, mounting evidence abound supporting the suggestion that most parasites are products of long-time evolution, first as symptoms, and are thus explicitly adapted for life within the body of another organism. And the fact that parasites for far outnumber free living organisms in the world is an indication of the success of parasitism. Parasites and infectious diseases. Parasitic infections and parasitic diseases are two slightly distinct situations originating from a single process. The parasite is a necessary but not sufficient condition to launch a parasitic disease. Parasitism does not necessarily result in injury or benefit to the host. Parasitic disease is an eventual outcome of a given parasite in a given host from a given population in a certain environment during a particular life co-evolution period of both protagonists. In essence, it is a unique result of association of parasite and host in a given environment. Epidemiology of parasitic infections. The epidemiology of infectious diseases attempts to describe the patterns and processes by which diseases are distributed in the host population. In the parasitical context, epidemiology is the study of infectious diseases and disease-causing agents such as parasites, that is, protozoans and helminths at a population level. It seeks to characterize the pattern of distribution and prevalence of the diseases and the factors responsible for the patterns. In a more applied context, epidemiology also tries to identify and test preventive and treatment measures. The transmission or movement of parasites from one host to another is a crucial factor in understanding the epidemiology of diseases. Disease-causing parasites are very life cycles. Consequently, the infection they cause, whose consequences are varied and sometimes fatal, are known to be associated with geographical and socioeconomic factors, as well as natural disasters and wars, poverty, malnutrition, personal and community hygiene, high population density, unavailability or absence of potable water, low health status, or compromised immune system, or outright or poor sanitation, growing antiparasitic resistance, and climate change. The combination of these conditions greatly enhance the growth, transmission, and dissemination of parasites and increase in the prevalence and incidence of diseases because in human communities. Epidemiological studies of some parasitic infections, Nigerian parasites, defined as the sign that evaluates the occurrence, determinant, distribution, and control of health and diseases in the defined human population. Epidemiology is an indispensable area of parasitology. Permit me to state here at this junction that my interest in the epidemiology of parasitic diseases dates back to my undergraduate days at the University of Edinburgh, when in my final year I was allocated to a Briton and seasoned epidemiologist, Dr. Christine Jones, for the supervision of my project work. She was the one that stimulated my then young mind in epidemiological research. To date, majority of my over 3 scores of journal publications are contributed to books were on different aspects of the epidemiological studies of various diseases, disease causing or caused by parasites or medical and veterinary importance. Permit me to mention here that my modest contribution to scientific research and by extension the world of science is primarily in the core area of epidemiology of parasitic diseases. Disease covered during my nearly 4 decades of research include toxoplasmosis, Olusi 1994, Olusi 1996, Olusi 1998, Olusi 2000, Olusi 2009, Olusi 2008, Olusi 2008, and Olusi 2009. Namibia, Olusi Amabe 2014, Aga Olusi 2014, Ayo Abe 2014, Olusi 2014. Kiss to psoriasis. Olusi et al. 2016, Adeniyi et al. 2016, Olusi et al. 2020, and Adeniyi et al. 2024, and Olusi et al. 2024 A and B. Olusi 1987, Namo et al. 1988, and Olusi et al. 2024. Psoriasis. Olusi 1982, Olusi 1996, Olusi et al. 2021, Affected et al. 2024, and Olusi psoriasis. After Olusi additional to 2017 and onwards. For the purpose of this lecture, I will be limiting my discussion to the 6 mentioned above. Toxoplasmosis. The etiological agent of this zoonotic disease, toxoplasmosis, is Toxoplasma gondii, an ubiquitous single-cell, six-forming, obligate intracellular protozoan parasite discovered by 1908 by Rigo and Massius and named after the North African rodent Adeniyi gondii, in whose tissue it was first recovered. The parasite has been recovered in all mammalian species examined, which explain the worldwide distribution of the disease in nearly all vertebrate animals. There is a growing body of literature suggesting that in humans, latent toxoplasma infection is responsible for many neuropathological effects exemplified by psychiatric disorders such as anxiety, schizophrenia, spectrum disorder, depression, self-directed violence, and or suicidal behavior. In pregnant women, the effect of congenitally acquired toxoplasma will depend on the trimester of pregnancy during which infection was contracted, residual and include spontaneous abortion or stillbirth, hydrocephaly, microcephaly, or ocular and neurological complications in childhood or early childhood, manifesting the birth of mentally retarded or blinded child. In individuals immunocompromised as a result of HIV, toxoplasmosis have been ranked among the most lethal opportunistic infections. Studies have suggested that as high as 6% of HIV-infected patients will develop the AIDS-defining condition of toxoplasmic encephalitis. It has been suggested that infection acquired during pregnancy represents a risk of congenital transmission. This underscores the significance of the findings of our study, Olusi et al. 1996, in which 43.7% of 606 women of childbearing age from Benue River Basin have serological evidence of toxoplasmosis. In the same study, we applied a previously published epidemiological weight model, Benue 1983, to our data, and we were able to generate an equation for the prediction of the expected incidence, that is the conversion of toxoplasma infection during pregnancy in any human population. In a separate study, Olusi et al. 1994, Olusi et al. 1998, Olusi et al. 2008, Olusi et al. 2000B, Olusi et al. 2002, Olusi et al. 2008, and Olusi et al. 2003 recorded 57, 56.6, 26.3, 32.5, 25.9, 30.44, and 34.60, respectively, among different human populations surveyed from Benue, Ondo, and Osun states of Nigeria. Immunopositive for toxoplasma gondii infection. Reasons are used for the widespread infection range from chance consumption of raw or undercooked meat. Malaria. Human malaria, also known as Bessemer's disease, is caused by any of the following pathogenic Plasmodium species: Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malariae, and Plasmodium ovariae. Additionally, the hitherto-known parasite of monkeys, Plasmodium Olusi, has now been reported to be infecting humans in Asian countries, particularly Malaysia and Indonesia. Malaria remains a global health problem with enormous devastating consequences, particularly in tropical countries, including Nigeria, where it has been a menace to health conditions of both rural and urban populations. When it is not treated properly, or promptly, malaria infection will lead to complications such as multi-organ failure in adults, severe anemia, respiratory distress, or cerebral involvement in children, and eventual death if not properly managed. Olusi et al. 2024. Despite the remarkable achievement of the reduction of malaria morbidity, the disease has remained the most common cause of morbidity and mortality. Olusi et al. 2024. In the last decade plus, I have led or jointly conducted research activities on the various aspects of the epidemiology of malaria, including the prevalence of the disease among different groups of individuals, including those who are infected with other diseases such as HIV and hepatitis. Some of our researches were also focused on anti-malaria activities of plant extract, botanicals, and vector control. In one of our studies, Adeniyi, nearly all 86% of pregnant women attending the major health facility in Abuja harbored the parasite. These malaria positive women recorded very low parasitology attesting to the endemicity of the disease and suggesting its involvement in maternal anemia. Potential analysis after this same set of women were screened for HIV, Olusi, and Adeniyi revealed that pregnant women positive for HIV were more likely to be infected with malaria, ostensibly due to their immunocompromised state. Olusi et al. 2019, in a latest study, recorded 52% prevalence rate of malaria among 93 HIV positive mothers reporting for routine antenatal examination in Ondo City. The implication of this finding is underscored by the suggestion of previous studies that co-infection of HIV and malaria in pregnancy is associated with various unpleasant outcomes, including anemia, low birth weight, premature death, maternal and neonatal deaths. Co-infections of other viruses such as hepatitis B and C with malaria parasite have been reported to be widespread in Ghana et al. 2024, A, B, and C, Dada et al. 2024. Among blood donors screened from Ife, Central Government, and Odakeke area of Osun State. Accurate diagnosis is a pivotal requirement in the management of malaria infection in the population. Thus, I also read a talk 2022 and Olusi et al. 2024 evaluated the sensitivity and specificity of rapid diagnostic tests RPT and microscopy on different populations of several malaria patients, concluding that both tests remain reliable and in the diagnosis of malaria infections. The prevalence of malaria through the prevention of malaria through the elimination of the vector requires a sound understanding of the biology of the mosquitoes. Thus, only year 2019 investigated the ecological factor favoring mosquito breeding and found that nearness to residence, temperature, dissolved oxygen, and total dissolved solids and pH of breeding sites all have varying degrees of effect on the survival of the larvae of different mosquito species. While Olusi et al. 21 highlighted the major species of malaria vectors in Abuja and selected ecological factors influencing the patterns of their breeding during the two major seasons. Akeke et al. 22 identified the important physiological parameters influencing the abundance of anopheles larvae that can be manipulated in order to achieve a reduction in the population of larval stages. The liver and the kidney are most primary organs that are most impacted in malaria infection. Oladeko et al. 2024 and Olusi et al. 2025 reported on the various histopathological and renal changes in the liver and kidney of humans and mice, respectively infected by Plasmodium falciparum and Plasmodium vivae. Schistosomiasis. Acknowledged as one of the oldest known parasitic diseases of man, schistosomiasis is caused by any of the following species of the genus Schistosoma: Schistosoma hematobium, Schistosoma mansoni, Schistosoma japonicum, Schistosoma intercalatum, and Schistosoma meconium. Schistosoma is also known as bilharzia, is a water and snail-borne disease. Certain species of aquatic snails serve as intermediate hosts in the transmission of the disease. Urinary schistosomia the most common parasitic disease of man. And its prevalence and public health implications. Olusi et al. 2016 and Adeniyi et al. 2016. It is endemic in 44 African countries, Nigeria and Olusi, with an estimated 101.28 million people at risk, 25.83 million people infected, and over 200 deaths per year. Human migration, agricultural and agricultural development have been blamed for the continuous expansion of the disease to new areas as these projects increase the natural habitats of the state contamination. Human water contact is also the principal determinant in the prevalence of psoriasis. The disease have been identified as a constant operational hazard among farmers in agricultural communities. Economic hardship in rural communities resulting in migration from rural to urban areas have also contributed in those conditions to the distribution and increase in geographic scope and pattern of the disease. Several data exist on the distribution of psoriasis in Africa. The infection occurs in all ages, however, the prevalence of psoriasis has been shown to be age-related. The intensity of infection reaches a peak and spreads and recently and range that between 12 and 16 years age in many communities, and thereafter declines. This observation may also be in surveys conducted and also be taught 2020, Olusi 2024 and Adeniyi 2024. So what I understand is the knowledge of psoriasis, Olusi 2016, integrated spatial disease and demographic data using ArcGIS 10.0 to determine the infection patterns of psoriasis in Akure local government area. 463 randomly selected households were screened for the disease. About 7 of them harbored at least one type of the disease. Spatial statistics showed that the infection patterns in the cluster was 4A and 5A, with contributing areas within the hotspot was 3B, 4B, and 5B in Obaide, Yoruba, and Akure respectively. On the influence of environment on the distribution and prevalence of children, the Adeniyi found negative correlation between infection and evolution, but positive correlation between vegetation, temperature, and proximity to water body. Fascioliasis. Fascioliasis is an important zoonotic disease principally caused by 2 species of the genus Fasciola, that is, Fasciola gigantica and Fasciola hepatica. And it's a major domestic livestock disease characterized by post-liver damage, which is the commonest of gastrointestinal herpes of serious economic importance that is adversely affecting livestock productivity, particularly in cattle. The long-term result of fascioliasis is the gross shortage of dietary animal protein. 1996. Studies of fascioliasis in many parts of the world, 1996, Olusi and Adeniyi, one is to define that the disease is endemic in cattle slaughter in on the field. Infections are usually chronic and asymptomatic, notwithstanding. They lead to retirement, delay and reduced productivity and increased susceptibility to secondary infections. The occurrence of human fascioliasis is a serious condition that is increasingly associated with changing dietary habits, particularly the consumption of organically grown vegetables in some parts of the world, particularly in Europe. Parasitology. Transmitted primarily by the flies of the Rocinha mosquito species, the disease is called animal parasitology or diabetes of type 4. Thrombocytopenia, transmitted aggregation, is a complication of parasitology. Though processes are known generally as inducers of blood coagulation and protein aggregation, whether or not active proteases are released by carboxyl was undertaken by Olusi 1987 and Umar 1988 as the first step towards defining biochemical basis of latent recognition in terminal. These authors were the first to report the extracellular release of the proteases by terminal in 1988 through a WHO grant to Prof. of the Department of Zoology, University of Ibadan. The enzymatic properties of these proteases were later published in 2004 and Olusi 2004. One method, 1988, mentioned earlier, was published in a worldwide highly rated journal, Transactions of the Research of Medical Medicine and Hygiene. Homosexuality. Homosexuality, commonly known as liver blindness, is a debilitating disease caused by homozygous virus. It is one of the neglected tropical diseases and a major public health problem, especially in West Africa, transmitted through the bite of an infected black fly of the genus Iberium. The disease manifests as a reaction to the presence of microfilaria in the skin and in the eyes. The disease is a major obstacle to development within the region of epilepsy, as it results in both blindness and dermatological problems. It is estimated that there are more than 25.7 million people infected with homozygous volvulus, with 756,000 visually impaired, while 265,000 are blinded. The disability adjusted life years varies for the disease is estimated to at 389,000 worldwide. After Olusi 2001, 2001, after 2002, and additional 2007, screened various human populations in Benin and Ondo State for homozygous virus incidents and selective methods, and recorded prevalence rates that range between 37 and 75. These high prevalence rates of infection cause concern, considering the devastating manifestations of the disease. Socioeconomic impact of parasitic diseases. The warm climates of the tropics, particularly Sub-Saharan Africa, is disproportionately being inhabited by parasites, where they constitute the greatest threat to health and socioeconomic status of people. Life in tropical Africa, like most of the world, is bedeviled by the terrible combination of poverty, ignorance, and diseases. And according to Suleiman 19 and Suleiman 8 of 2022, parasitic infections remain the major obstacle to economic development and the better life in developing countries. Parasitic contribute directly to malnutrition, which in turn reduces the resistance of humans to infectious diseases. Thus, the eradication and control of parasitic infection is expected to have a considerable impact on the health and conditions of the people. There's a complex relationship between parasitic diseases and economic development. According to Oliver Nelson before, it is not easy to assess or measure the socioeconomic impact of parasitic disease. It is also not easy to estimate the impact of socioeconomic factors on parasitic infections and their control. These observations notwithstanding, the adverse effect of parasitic diseases on economic development is widely accepted as an article of faith. Indeed, also 1978 went as far as saying that parasitic disease probably constitute the most to retardation of economic development, and he declared them to the public enemy of the world. A parasite-free world, achievable or wishful. What happens when there are no parasites? What will happen if all parasites disappear? This individual got experiment once posed on the BBC Earth's Strange and Beautiful series by June 2015. It's a useful exercise for considering the ecological roles of parasites in the ecosystem. So far, humanity has managed to drive only one of its parasites to extinction, that is the virus variola. The viral genus that causes smallpox, until it was eradicated in 1980 through global scale public health efforts. Naturally occurring smallpox was one of the most dominant drivers of mortality in ecology, killing 500 million people in the 20th century alone. By many metrics, the elimination of viruses, bacteria, protozoans, and collectively now referred to as parasites, would contribute to reduced rates of human mortality, less disability, improvement in quality of life, and even reduce poverty. It is the appearance of parasites would also substantially benefit livestock production, and wildlife conservation, particularly in developing countries. But while eradication of disease agents is critically important for ensuring human well-being, parasites often play important yet underappreciated roles in nature. Every ecosystem on Earth contains parasites. Indeed, virtually every metazoan is host to at least one parasite species. Parasites represent 40% of described species and are at least twice as rich a species as their vertebrate hosts. In this lecture, I attempt explaining a world without parasites as a vehicle for identifying the ecological changes that will accompany the elimination or loss of infectious organisms. The elimination of all parasites is improbable and perhaps impossible, but as World 2010 noted, it can be illuminating to ponder all kinds of impossible and radical scenarios, in effect bracketing the real world with visions of possible worlds. The discussion is limited to parasites of animals, focusing on empirical and theoretical research on parasites. Parasites influence at several levels of ecological organization, like the individual level, population level, community level, and the ecosystem level. Also, influences for general mechanisms by which parasites may be ecologically influential and identifying attributes of parasites, hosts, and ecosystems that may predict a strong ecological influence on parasites. Summary and conclusion. A world without parasites is impossible to achieve and can only be approximated in specific circumstances such as zoos, enclosures, zoo enclosures, aquarium, and intensive agricultural practice. In such instances, despite strenuous effort, such enclosures are often still hotbeds of infections. For example, the hospitals. According to Lloyd's 2013, even if parasites somehow disappear, other species will evolve to occupy newly vacated niches since nature does not accommodate them. There are some cases in which elimination of parasite species is both possible and highly desirable. In these instances, potential benefits to human health and well-being triumph any other considerations. The seemingly impossibility of total eradication notwithstanding, imagining such a world can help expose some of the otherwise hidden ecological roles of parasites. Parasites and their hosts have often evolved together over many years, maintaining a delicate balance. After all, parasites usually have little interest in killing their hosts, since that will mean losing their homes and sources of nutrient. But when parasites go into extinction, it creates new opening for niches in the ecosystem. So it creates new open niches in an ecosystem for other invasive species to exploit. That can create opportunities for new encounters between parasites and hosts that are not familiar with each other and have not developed non-lethal relationships. In 2024, for instance, a tapeworm species that was either foreign to humans was found in the man's brain, leading to seizures and inflammation of the brain. In finally concluding this lecture, I do not argue that human parasites should be conserved. Rather, I emphasize that the importance of understanding the ecology of a parasite before attempting to control or eradicate it. As Jones 2015 wrote, surprisingly, the world without parasites might not be a nicer one. Thoughtful planning will prevent the loss of ecologically important parasites and processes they facilitate as we progress slowly towards a parasite-free world. Recommendation. Stemming from this lecture, the following recommendations that could assist in the attainment of a near parasite-free society are made. 1. Meat must be thoroughly cooked before consumption or stored in freezers, and hands must be properly washed after handling meat or to forestall the transmission of parasites through cysts that may be present in the meat from farm animals. 2. Fruits and vegetables must be properly washed as they may be contaminated with parasites, eggs, cysts, or oocysts. Hand gloves should be worn when working in gardening that entails contact with soil, or when disposing feces of domestic animals. And if domestic animals must be kept as pets, they should be fed on dried or canned or boiled food and prevented from eating or predating on domestic rodents and birds. Personal hygiene should be adopted at individual and community levels to guarantee freedom from disease-causing parasites. Environmental sanitation should also be encouraged or compelled to reduce breeding sites of parasites and transmitting vectors. Besides, residential buildings, including student hostels, should be screened to prevent access by vectors of parasites, such as mosquitoes and flies. Lastly, governments of states and federal levels are advised to always consult biologists for expert advice before undertaking developmental projects such as highways, agricultural, and hydroelectric development that will have direct impact on the ecology of the environment and to strictly adhere to the pieces of advice offered by the experts. Acknowledgements. Once again, I give all thanks, majesty, and adoration to God Almighty and to Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, for being my perfect guide, right from infancy and later in life, when I was drawing the picture of my career. Despite being born of a family parents who were neither lettered nor well-traveled, he has always been my source of direction and inspiration in all my life's endeavors. I'm profoundly grateful to God for the life of my late father, Prince Olusi, whose vision and foresight laid the foundation for my educational journey. Though he did not acquire Western education himself, he deeply appreciated his immense value. I will forever remain grateful to my dear mother, Mrs. Musiato Aino Olusi, for her unquantifiable love and care. It is brilliant by excellence. Her disciplinary actions over very minor childhood behaviors, combined with endless counseling and family prayers, have been responsible for shaping my journey through life thus far. Mama, I celebrate you. I'm indebted to my elder brother, Elder Samuel Olusi, currently the head of the royal family of Olusi dynasty of Ghana, for making my education possible by taking over my responsibilities from our father, since my early teenagers. I wish to express my profound heartfelt gratitude to one of my two cherished and extraordinary mentors, an administrator by excellence, an academic colossus, and the distinguished prince of Ife royal family, Emeritus Professor Adeniyi. I remain deeply indebted to him for the genuine love he has consistently shown to me and my family, as well as for the special interest he has taken in my personal and professional development. I pray that Almighty God, in His giving mercies, richly reward you with long life, sound health, and even greater prosperity in Jesus' mighty name. I remain eternally grateful to my other extraordinary mentor and PhD supervisor, Professor Jerry Adeniyi of pleasant memory. He was the very embodiment of humility, an exceptional scholar whose character bore no trace of self-aggrandizement. A towering academic figure, he devoted his life to scholarship and the nurturing of future generations of scientists. I also acknowledge with deep gratitude the love, kindness, and encouragement shown to me by my late father and mother-in-laws, Chief Gabriel, son of Obagayi, and Honorable Chief Mrs. Victoria Obagayi, both of whom I held in the highest esteem during their lifetime. May your gentle souls continue to rest peacefully in the bosom of your grave. I equally wish to place on record my profound appreciation for the strong family ties and sincere affection I have enjoyed with my in-laws. In particular, I acknowledge their excellencies Alhaji Dr. Sikiru Taiwo and Princess Yemisi Oluwelawa, the former deputy governor of Ekiti State, and his beloved wife. I also appreciate the warm and cordial relationship I share with my other brothers and sister-in-laws. I wish to express my heartfelt and enduring appreciation to my late younger brother, Mr. Adeniyi Olusi, and other siblings, their spouses, my stepbrothers and stepsisters. I remain profoundly grateful to all my esteemed uncles, represented by Dr. Joseph Oluwalabi. My appreciation goes to my current head of the department, the head of the biology, Prof. Adeniyi, and to all my esteemed colleagues in the Department of Biology, affectionately known as the biology family, for the warm and cordial relationship we have enjoyed since I joined the department nearly 2 decades ago. I remain profoundly grateful to each of you. I am very indebted to Dr. Olusi of the Institute of Microbiology and Hygiene or Wishful in Germany for granting me as a visit to his Institute of Responsibility Laboratory for formal training on the immunology and serology of and diagnosis of toxic asbestos. I remain eternally grateful to my spiritual fathers. My spiritual father, Reverend Adeniyi, of the First Baptist Church, who introduced me to Christ and teachings of Christianity early in my life, having been born of Muslim parents. I'm also very grateful to my spirit-free, indefatigable, and anointed man of God, the founder and general overseer of Jesus, our Spirit of Life, Mission International, Reverend Dr. and his wife, Pastor Mrs. Sola family, and members of the Spirit of Life family. I'm equally thankful to my Lord Bishop of the Achievable Diocese, Reverend Presiding, the leader of my own church, St. Peter's Anglican Church, Reverend Adeniyi, and members of my own congregation. I extend my sincere and heartfelt appreciation to the executive members of all members of the University of the Alumni Association University Branch, all honorary members of the officers' mess of the 32 Academic Brigade, Nigerian Army, and members of the group of 10 areas in like mind of Obale House University. I remain deeply appreciative to my faraway but close friends and associates of the university system, including Professor Adeniyi and Professor and others. I'm deeply honored to have begun my teaching and professional career under highly respected principal, late Chief Ashani of the Baby, Mr. Eson, and Vice Principal, Mr. Olusi. I thank all of you for giving me a sound beginning and the confidence you repose in me at the start of my career. I am profoundly appreciative of my brilliant and dedicated scholars, of the brilliant and dedicated scholars I have been privileged to mentor. To share these values are my PhD students, Drs. Awoti, Oluwa, Akakaye, Salau, Adebiran, Akeju, Olaniran, Anyamuya, Olalika, and Ms. O. Eyidola, my current PhD students, as well as all my master's students. I'm also sincerely thankful to all the vice chancellors under whom I have been privileged to serve during my nearly 4 decades career in the university system, including our current visionary, humble, God-sent, and transformative future vice chancellor, a young, vibrant, intelligent, and exceptionally beautiful damsel in her late teens, the signature of all who appreciate national education, Mrs. Olusi, the lady I met in 1988, growing mind on our days. Our courtship span nearly 7 years, culminating in our union as lawfully wedded spouses 1987, almost 40 years ago. We are here commitment, reliability, virtue, and prayerfulness. Indeed, her devotion is such that I fondly refer to her as the beginners of my nuclear family, leading with devotion in almost all our daily family prayer meetings, which are long and heartfelt prayers. I count myself exceedingly lucky and blessed, and eternally grateful to God for giving me my heart's desire and the biblical wife of my youth. I extend my heartfelt appreciation to my beloved children, Adeniyi, Adeniyi, and Wishful, and precious grandchildren, Olusi, and you are all wonderful, and I'm very happy and proud to have you as God's priceless gift to me. Your love, support, and accomplishments continue to bring immense joy and pride to my heart. Madam Vice Chancellor, as I bring 196th Inaugural Lecture to a close, I return all glory, honor, and adoration to the Almighty God, the owner of my soul and the author of all my achievements. It is by His grace alone that today has been made possible. He alone is worthy of all praises, now and forevermore. Thank you all for your attention and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Olusi, for the well-delivered and well-thought-out lecture. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is customary for us to recognize some special people in our midst. And to begin, I would like to recognize first one of our own elder statesmen, a living legend of Futa, former Vice Chancellor of this great university, Professor Adeniyi. Thank you, sir, for coming. We also have with us this day a former acting Vice Chancellor of Futa, former Rector of the Federal Polytechnic Olusi, and the Chairman of the Ekiti State Polytechnic Governing Council, in person of Professor Adeniyi. Thank you, sir, for coming. We have today also a former registrar turned professor, my own sister and friend, Professor Adeniyi, former registrar of Futa. Thank you, ma'am, for always joining us. We have with us today also a former university librarian, Prince Adeniyi. Thank you, sir, for joining us again today. Also, in our midst today, we have the former acting university librarian, Mrs. Zainab Falaye. Thank you, ma'am. You've been with us since morning today. Thank you for coming. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have with us today His Excellency Dr. C.K. Lawal, the former Deputy Governor of Ekiti State, and His Adeniyi, Mrs. Olusi. Thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. We also have with us Pastor Mrs. Fadi of Spring of Life Bible Church. Thank you, Madam and Daddy, for joining us. We are very grateful. Pastor Mrs. Fadi. We also have Pastor Mrs. Fadi, the Animal and Environmental Biology, Adeniyi University. Okay, thank you, Madam, for joining us. We are great. We have with us Olusi, representing UI alumni. Thank you, sir, for coming to say have members of the University of Alumni Association who has come to felicitate with the inaugural lecturer. We have members of the Spring of Life Bible Church. And then if you are a member, please rise up for recognition. Spring of Life Bible Church. Thank you for presenting this great inaugural lecture. We have soldiers of the 32 Army Brigade also with us. If you are one of them, please rise. Let us celebrate. Okay, we are seeing you. Thank you very much for coming. We have with us today members of the immediate family, members of the family of the inaugural lecturer. We have Prince Rotimi Obagaye, brother-in-law of the inaugural lecturer. Thank you very much. We have Mr. Ugo Obagaye, also brother-in-law of the inaugural lecturer. Thank you for coming. We have Professor Phillips Olusi, brother of the inaugural lecturer. Thank you for joining us. We have with us Mrs. Rosemary Adeniyi, sister of the inaugural lecturer. Thank you for joining us. Today we have with us Mr. Adeniyi, son of the inaugural lecturer. He has joined us virtually. We also have Mr. Adeniyi Olusi, daughter of the inaugural lecturer. Thank you for joining us. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have with us a woman whom the inaugural lecturer described as young, vibrant, intelligent, exceptionally positive. It describes her as the candidate of God who will appreciate her character. Thank you, we have with us Mrs. Olusi, the wife of the inaugural lecturer. Thank you, ma'am, for being a pillar of responsibility, commitment, reliability, virtue, and trust. Thank you, ma'am, for supporting the inaugural lecturer of today. Thank you, ma'am. We are grateful. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before we go, I'd like to recognize the most important group of persons here today. Great Gutierrez. They are the most important partners. Thank you very much.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have a couple of announcements. The first one is straight from the Vice Chancellor. The Vice Chancellor of our great university invites everybody here to the university's Foundation Day lecture on Thursday, 16th April 2026 at 10 a.m. The lecture with the title Leadership and Organizational Performance Technology as a Driver will be delivered by His Excellency Honorable Lucky Uribison Ayedatua, Governor Ondo State at 10 a.m. in Dean's Auditorium. You are all cordially invited. All students, I will tell you where to go thereafter. All full staff at the back of the auditorium will see some persons waiting for you. Please ensure that you see them on your way out. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I invite us to rise for the future as well as the national anthem. students are expected at the biology lab, School of Life Science. Biology lab, School of Life Science.
It started with 62 top Nigerian investors represented by 1,548 of their finest men on the planet, all competing with the ultimate battle of the best brains to earn the bragging rights as Nigeria's best earning